Every leader has a moment, that quiet pause between I think I can, I'm not so sure. Welcome to Tutum Talk with me, Karen Nance. Together, we'll explore what it means to lead with heart, to build confidence not from control, but from connection. Because your leadership isn't about perfection, it's about presence. And when you trust yourself, your team will too. Join me as we explore leadership in the everyday and beyond. Before we begin, I want to invite you to arrive here, fully, honestly, as you are. If you're listening while multitasking, that makes sense. Most leaders don't stop moving easily. Stillness can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. So instead of asking you to stop, I'll ask you to notice. Notice your breath. Notice your shoulders. Notice whether your jaw is clenched or your brow is furrowed. And if you feel tired, bone tired, decision tired, soul tired, please hear this clearly. There's nothing wrong with you. If this episode found you, it's likely because you've been carrying more than your share for a long time, holding people together, holding space, holding responsibility, holding uncertainty. In a culture that praises hustle, exhaustion can begin to feel like proof that you care. But today, I want to gently challenge that story. Burnout isn't a badge of honor, and rest isn't a reward for finishing. Rest is recovery, and recovery is leadership. Most leaders don't resist rest because they don't want it. They resist it because rest feels risky, especially if you're someone who feels deeply responsible for others, was praised early on for being dependable. Learn that being needed equals being valuable. Rest can quietly trigger fear. Fear of falling behind. Fear of disappointing people. Fear that if you slow down, things might unravel. Many leaders learned, explicitly or implicitly, that their worth lives in their output. That leadership means staying ahead, staying available, staying strong. So when your body asks for rest, your mind might respond with guilt. You can rest later. Just push through this week. Other people have it worse. Sound familiar? But leadership doesn't have a finish line. There is always another decision, another meeting, another moment where someone looks to you for steadiness. So if rest is only allowed once everything is done, it never comes. And the longer rest is postponed, the more your system shifts into survival mode. Quietly, subtly, without asking permission. This isn't a mindset problem. It's a biological one. Your nervous system needs recovery in order to function well. And leadership demands a regulated nervous system far more than a relentless one and a relentless effort. Here's something leaders rarely say out loud. Even when you're holding it together, your team can feel when you're depleted. They may not know why things feel tense. They may not name it directly, but they sure can sense the shift. When leaders are exhausted, they often become more reactive, struggle to listen fully, default to urgency instead of clarity. Take on more instead of trusting others. Not because they lack skill, but because tired systems prioritize survival over connection. And here's the part that matters most. Regulation is contagious. So is dysregulation. Your tone, your pacing, your presence, all of it sets the emotional temperature of the room. A depleted leader doesn't create psychological safety on purpose, but exhaustion can unintentionally erode it. This is why rest is not selfish. It's protective. Protective of your patience, protective of your relationships, protective of your ability to lead with compassion instead of control. A rested leader is more able to pause before responding, ask better questions, and see the whole system, not just the fire in front of them. Rest doesn't make you less committed. It makes you more available. Let's gently redefine rest. Rest is not quitting. It's not checking out. And it's not abandoning responsibility. Rest is regulation. Rest is integration. Rest is repair. It's how your nervous system recalibrates after carrying weight. And rest doesn't have to be dramatic to be effective. Sometimes rest looks like ending your workday when you said you would. Letting silence exist instead of filling it. Sleeping without an alarm. Stepping outside without a plan. Choosing not to respond immediately because you trust yourself to return later with clarity. And it can look like a 2 to 3 meditation, not a full sleeping session. Rest sends a powerful message to yourself and others. I don't have to be frantic to be effective. I don't have to be exhausted to be committed. I can lead from groundedness, not depletion. And when leaders model rest, not performatively, but honestly, it gives others permission to honor their own limits too. That's how culture changes, not through policies alone, but through presence. Let's slow down together for a moment. You don't need to answer these questions perfectly. Just notice what lands. Where has rest felt unsafe in your leadership? What story did you learn about slowing down? What are you afraid might happen if you paused? Now gently ask yourself this. What has already happened by not resting? And finally, this question matters deeply. Who are you as a leader when you are rested, even slightly more than usual? Are you more patient, more curious, more compassionate with yourself and others? Rest doesn't require a complete life overhaul. Recovery often begins with one small boundary, one honest no, one intentional pause. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. If this conversation stirred something in you, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not failing because you're tired. You're responding to a system that asked you to carry too much for too long. Leadership was never meant to be lived in constant overdrive or alone. If you're craving support in reclaiming your energy, leading without burning out, or creating cultures rooted in safety, trust, and sustainability, I would be honored to support you through one-on-one coaching. You don't need to wait until you're depleted to deserve care. Rest can begin now. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for caring as deeply as you do. And thank you for choosing a form of leadership that leaves room for life. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. I know you have a lot of options on how you carve out your day and spend your time, and I'm honored that you decided to spend some time here today at Tutum Talk. Remember that leadership, it isn't something that we master once. It's something we grow into, moment by moment. My hope is that today offered you a little more clarity, a little more courage, and a reminder that you're not leading alone. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who might need it too. And remember, confidence doesn't come from having all the answers. It grows from connection, curiosity, and the courage to keep showing up. I'm Karen Nance, and this has been Tutum Talk, exploring leadership in the everyday and beyond.